Hey, good morning, fam. Good morning. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Um, Listen, so you guys know I've been doing a lot of videos the past couple of months in reference to, getting out of debt, in reference to saving for retirement, because the stats are horrific right now in reference to people who don't have any retirement income, right? And what I want to talk about today is these mortgages that we all go out here and get. And I believe that the media have done a very good job in convincing us that it's a great thing, right? I believe the media have done a very good job in letting us know that it is an investment and it will ultimately benefit you. Now, mind you, I am not against a wonderful and beautiful home. I'm not. You understand? Especially if you have children and responsibilities, right? It's something that I think a lot of people aspire to have. It creates memories, right? But I don't believe it's for everybody. You understand? Because the math just isn't mathing, right? And sometimes I believe renting might be a whole lot. As a matter of fact, forget sometimes. I think in this new world economy that we are in right now, I believe that maybe renting might actually be a whole lot better. So what I want to go over today, and excuse me guys, I'm actually about to cross this busy street over here on Light Street in Baltimore. You guys know, if you're from Baltimore, you know exactly where I'm at. But I do believe that renting might be a whole lot better for most people. And I'm gonna go over some reasons why I actually believe that, right? Number one, the flexibility of it all. Which means that, for example, if you buy a house and a couple years down the line, you no longer like that neighborhood anymore. Well, it might be difficult just to pack up and leave. You understand? You got to sell that property first, right? Before you're able to do that. So the flexibility of renting, if you don't like the area where you're at, you can actually say, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. Terminate your lease pretty much, after your lease term is over, and just leave. You understand? So that's one. Number two, though, which I think is probably, it should be number one, the low cost or the low down payment to get into an apartment in reference to a house is crazy. Like, nowadays, these houses that are roughly about 400,000, 500K, you can need sometimes anywhere between $50,000 to $80,000 down payment. That is your life savings, right? I know of an individual who took 80 grand out of their 401k to put down on buying their property. I would never do that. It just doesn't make any sense, because God knows how long it took you to save that kind of money, and that's coming from your retirement account, which is probably part of the reason why a lot of people can't retire now. A lot of people pull money out of their 401k, especially first-time home buyer, to put down on buying a property, which now sets you back. So can you imagine? Let's say it took you 10 plus years to accumulate that money in your 401k. So you just set yourself back roughly 10 to 15 years in reference to work life. So you're gonna have to work longer. So to me, whereas for example, if you want to rent, most likely you just move in with first month's rent. If your credit is good, if it's not, they might want a security deposit equivalent to their first month's rent. But even still with that, it's still extremely lower, right, than trying to buy a property. Okay. Number three, how you doing, brother? Number three is which a lot of people don't factor, which is, I think, this is what hurts a lot of people when it comes to them owning a property and ultimately end up losing the property, is the cost of maintenance. And let me just touch on the cost of maintenance, which to me, I think, if you understand this and you understand why sometimes buying doesn't make any sense, and you put that money to use, you can become wealthy. Because when you buy a house, you're actually paying on a debt. Okay? Most people just see this is my mortgage payment, but they don't see the thousands of dollars that they're paying in interest. If you buy a home for $500,000, by the time it's all said and done, you may have ended up paying $1.2 million back to the bank. Let me say that one more time. If you took out a loan for $500,000, correct? Plus interest. By the time it's all said and done, you may have ended up paying $1.2 million for that property, which means you paid $700,000 in interest. That is the definition of a loan shark. But most people don't look at it that way. What do they say? I'm a homeowner. It makes them feel good that they're going into debt just to say they own a home, right? But can you imagine if you forego buying a home and calculate how much, and I've done this for a client a couple of years ago, actually about maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, that was asking me, hey Maxwell, what do you think about me buying a home and not buying a home? And I sat down with him and I said, let me show you something. How much did actually you put down? He said about $35,000. Cool. I said, well, do you have that money liquid? He said, I got about 15, 20, and then I have like another 10 in his 401k that he can cash out. Okay. I was like, how much is the mortgage gonna be? He said roughly about $2,800. I said, how much you paying in rent right now? He's like $1,800. Okay. So now your mortgage goes up, but your rental or wherever you're staying now goes up by an additional $1,000. Okay. Plus the $35,000 you got to put down. Okay. Plus the annual maintenance of your property. I read an article that said that an average home is going to cost you anywhere between $9,000 to $10,000 a year to maintain. Between grass maintenance, AC unit maintenance, just everything that may happen in that property may cost you anywhere between $9,000 to $10,000 a year. And I showed him, I was like, let me show you this. If you just, for example, just take the extra $1,000 that you're going to be paying for this mortgage compared to the $1,800 you're paying right now, And then you take, let's just say, for example, your maintenance of your property might cost you, let's say, $10,000. Okay, so let's just say $900, right, a month, right? So that's $1,900 right there off the break. And that $35,000 you're planning on putting down. And I ran him a product called, or IUL, a Index Universal Life Policy. And I showed him contributing that for the next 15 to 20 years compared to having a mortgage for 30 years. Not only will he have enough to buy the property outright cash, because now you are investing. The money is making money for you compared to your mortgage where you're paying down into a debt. So you're paying off a debt. The house is not making money for you. Now, I'm not talking to the people who buy properties as a rental unit. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the average person who buys a home because they was told it is an investment. And it's truly not. It's actually a debt. When I ran that number for him, I believe by year 20, he had close to $800,000. 800, almost close to $800,000. He can now pull $500K out and buy his house cash. Now he's debt free. It will still be young. I believe he'll be right about, I think it was like 57 years old by the time this will happen. And he'll still be debt free. So now, and then he had roughly about maybe $200K plus left that'll be left in there. Right? So, when I talk about buying a house might not be for everybody. As a matter of fact, I personally don't think it's a smart decision. Okay? The next thing I want to talk about too is your real estate tax. These property assessments, right? That inflate your property value, which now increase your taxes. A lot of people are falling in a lot of trouble with this. These are things that most people don't factor in. They're so excited because they've been approved for a home and everybody around them has a home and they don't want to be left behind. So now they fall into the same scenario. Now, again, remember, I do not have a problem with you owning a home. I think a home, again, is a wonderful thing. You create memory there. But let's call a spade a spade. It is not an asset. It is debt. Okay? Now, as you guys can see behind me, and I came down here for a reason. This is a property here in downtown Baltimore called 414 Light Street. You guys can check it out online. One, I believe to live here, you gotta make at least minimum $100,000 a year, right? But I'm just using this as an example because of all the amenities these apartments come with that ultimately end up saving you money instead of you trying to rent, right? This property here, I checked it out a while back. It is a beautiful property, right? And they have on services where they can pick up your dry cleaning for you. You give them a grocery list and somebody do your groceries and stock it up in your apartment for you. They have a beautiful gym that if you're paying a gym membership right now, you're probably gonna cancel your gym membership because their gym is amazing. They also have a massage parlor. They got a meditation room. They got a park. I believe it's on the 12th or the 15th floor. They have a penthouse suite for the people who can afford it. I believe that goes for roughly about $4,000 to $5,000 a month, I believe, for the people who can afford it, which is about $60K a year. And I think you gotta make, to be in there, you gotta make at least 160, 180, somewhere around there, to be approved for that particular part of this building. They got a pool, they got a conference center, they have everything. It's a beautiful layout. It's right in the heart of downtown. Now, from the lowest floor, I think it starts out at $2,500 to $2,900 a month. And that's all you pay. You don't have to worry about property taxes. You don't have to worry about any maintenance. So you now can take your hard-earned money and throw it into the market and start to make some real money instead of you being house rich and cash poor. This, I believe, is one of the reasons why a lot of people cannot retire. They took out money that they saved and threw it into the property, number one. Then number two, unforeseen situations start to happen. AC goes out. That's about $5,000 to $10,000. Plumbing goes out. That's a few $1,000s right there. Lawn mowing. A tree falls on the roof. This is the secret that they don't tell you about. As a homeowner, the way the economy is going right now, most people, I believe, will be forced into buying their home cash anyway. Which to me, I think is smart. Because at 7% interest rate, I don't know who can afford to live in these properties and still survive. Because most likely, how you doing? I'm wonderful. I like your glasses.
Thank you.
So yeah, most people cannot afford to like, you might be approved for it, don't mean you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, everything you got is going into this house that you can't put. I meet a lot of people who have mortgages, and I've talked to them about getting life insurance and putting money away for the long haul, and they cannot squeeze it out because the mortgage is killing them, which makes sense now as to the Census Bureau report in reference to people that age of 55 to 66 have zero retirement. And most of those people don't start to put money away until they're close into retirement age. So they're already behind. I'm not doing this video to deter you from buying if you're already thinking about buying. I'm doing this video to share some very valuable information with you. And listen, if you see value in what I'm preaching today, I want this message to reach the right person. Can you please like, share, and also subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel? I think a lot of people need to know this, and they need to be aware. Real estate is not the investment that they make it out to be. I did a video the other day that even if you was to pay your house off in 30 years and you own it free and clear, and let's say you bought your house for $500K, now the house is valued at, let's say $800,000. What you gonna do then? Because to get money out of it, you either A, have to sell it, and then you get whatever you get after taxes, but then you're gonna need a place to lay your head. So you have to go buy something else. Or B, you put out equity from the house. Now you're starting back with payments again. Listen, they do a very good job in having you look the other way and not looking at the fine print. They do a very good job in having you look the other way and not look at the fine print. If most people knew how much they would end up paying in interest for a house, they will not sign on the dotted line unless they're making real good income and they have a plan on paying it off in 10 years or so they can avoid a massive load of interest payment. And we know most people cannot afford to do. As a matter of fact, I saw an article yesterday from the Pew Research, and in the article it states that the income for a person who's considered upper class is $168,000 a year. How you doing, brother? All right. To be considered upper class, they say your income has to be $168,000. I don't feel upper class. I do not feel upper class. I don't know where they get that from. Things are so expensive nowadays. And if you listen to this, if you make that income and above, I want you to let me know, do you feel upper class? I surely don't. Everything has gone up. Housings have gone up. Groceries gone up. Clothes gone up. Gas gone up. Cars gone up. Even cell phones now at the bare minimum are like $800 for a cell phone. $800. If you want a real good cell phone, you're paying $1,600. The cell phone I'm talking to you on right now cost me $1,200. So yeah, I don't feel upper class. I'm sorry. I don't know where they got that number from. I don't know who made that up. They need to increase that by another $300K. If you upper class should be $500,000 a year. You understand? So listen, I wanted to share that message with you guys today because it's a lot going on out here. There's a lot of noise. People don't know who to listen to. People don't know who to trust. You're getting a lot of information from different variety of people. And most people's fear is to be left behind. I understand that. Most people's fear is to be left behind. Most people are looking left and right, and their friends are buying, their family members are buying, their neighbors are buying a house, and they are feeling left out. But what you don't understand is these same people who you are looking at who are buying are house rich and cash poor. If you sit down and talk to them and they want to be honest with you and share real life information and numbers with you, most of them don't have any liquid savings. Most of them definitely don't have any retirement savings. If you want to avoid all of that, do what works best for you and what makes sense for you. Like, I want us to go into a season of brilliance. Not smart, but brilliance. Right? Brilliant thinking. Dissecting everything and seeing what works best for you and what makes sense for you and your family. Not what everybody else is doing. If you truly I keep on saying this, one of the blessings that I get or that I got from being a life insurance agent is the fact that I get to go into homes every day. Later on this evening, I have a referral that was referred to me, and she's a retiree, and I'll be sitting down with her. And I usually love having conversations with my client before I do anything, because it's a learning experience for me. It's not about making a sale at that moment. It's about learning from other people and applying things that they either did right or did wrong, and applying it to my life. So, as we're going into this new economic season or era that we're in, we have to have a brilliant thought process. Forget what everybody else is doing. As a matter of fact, just shut your eyes. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Worry about you. Think about your future. You don't want to, a lot of people don't know how scary this is because they don't see enough of it. It is scary out here because I'm in the field every day and I'm seeing people who, yes, they're retired, but they literally have no money. They can't even afford to breathe. And I'm not over exaggerating. I'm talking about some people are only living off of just Social Security, and the only reason why they retired because they had to, because due to age or due to some health condition. Because if it wasn't for that, they will still be working at 70. And that's not the play. That is not the play. That is not the end game. I'm sorry. It might be for some people, but you can actually put a stop to all of this. This does not have to be you. This does not have to be you. But to put a stop to it, you got to stop swiping those cards. You got to stop spending. Right? You got to get back control of yourself. Stop looking at what others have going on. As a matter of fact, if you follow what I'm telling you right now, others will be looking at you in the next few years. You know why? Because you'll be retired, you'll be traveling and living your life while they have to go to work every single day. Because you did the right thing. You will be retired. You can travel the world. You can spend more time with your spouse. You can spend more time with your grandkids. Spend time with your friends. Bills will be on auto pay. because you've saved enough, right? And you can live your best life, which is the essence of your golden year. That's why they call it the golden year. It is your turn now. It's your moment. It is your time to do the things that you want to do and enjoy your life. But for this to happen for you, for this to begin, it starts with a lot of discipline. That's most people's problem. Is a lot. You know, I was in downtown Baltimore, right where I am right now, but the other side. And as bad as the economy is right now, I'm seeing all these people at restaurants. I'm like, how are they able to afford to do this? And mind you, that whole week, I was down there. And it was, even during the weekday, it was packed. Because people just cannot stop spending. And I'm not knocking people, because literally up to 2 years ago, I was the same way. And I had to say, ho. You know, this you see right here, this gray, I believe when it started to fully show up is when I said, nope. It's getting too close. It's getting too close to that time for me. It's becoming real. That I had to now decide that, okay, no problem. Discipline moment where I increase my brokerage account now to 30%. And when I tell you that it hurts a lot, it does. It does. It does. Because the things that I'm accustomed to doing, I can't do anymore. I went out of town about 3 weeks ago. And I don't want you guys to think I'm bougie or anything like that. But the hotels that I'm accustomed to staying at, I couldn't do it. I have to stay at a Courtyard Marriott. And there's nothing wrong with a Courtyard. It's just not what I'm accustomed to. You understand? It's just not what I'm accustomed to. So it saved me for that 3 or 4 days compared to where I usually would have stayed. It saved me roughly 4 to 5, well, probably $700 if you consider the parking I would have had to pay for and stuff like that. So these are things that I had to catch myself on. Like, I'm not just having this conversation just to have it. No. I am alongside of you. I am one of those people that now almost 40%, so 30% is going to my brokerage account. Another 18+% goes into my IUL. That's almost 50% of my income. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have to make it happen. See, there has to be very uncomfortable decisions that we have to make in order for you to achieve greatness. It's like an athlete. Anybody can be an athlete. The discipline it takes, the diet, most people cannot do it. Waking up at 4 in the morning to work out. As a matter of fact, as we are speaking, let me turn this around so you guys can see. You see these people right here working out? People jogging, right? This is everyday discipline. The diet, most people will not do it. That's why most people can't be athletes. You are on a strict diet. The cutoff, most of the time you're cut off from your friends. It's the same thing with your finances. You have to get strict with it. And anybody who comes against that, you gotta release them. You gotta release them. Because if you don't, they will turn you into them. And I'm being as serious as I can. Like, for this journey to happen for you, you have to get rid of a lot of people. Because it's gonna be tough. Everybody's going out and buying and spending and living their life while you sitting at home watching Netflix or whatever. Everybody's traveling. You sitting at home looking out the window. Now, I'm not saying don't live. I travel 4 times a year. I'm cutting it down to one and a half now. And that half is probably like a little weekend trip just to, get my mind, whatever. But I travel 4 times a year. And I realized that those travels cost me, on the average, $12,000 a year. Skateboarding. Yeah, I love Baltimore. Baltimore's amazing. Baltimore's amazing. The media of Baltimore. It's not true what they say. But yeah, I usually spend about $13,000 to $14,000 a year on traveling, and that's just the hotel and flights. We're not talking about excursion, eating. As a matter of fact, up to a couple of years ago when I decided to change or go in this direction I'm going, I was actually an ambassador member for the Marriott. If you know what that means. I believe you had to spend, I think it's either 28 or 30-something thousand a year. I believe somewhere around there. I could be wrong. I think it's somewhere around there at the Marriott. And I forgot how many stays that you would have had to stay. Now, I only got to that level because I'm what you call a traveling agent. But that dollar amount, I didn't have to spend. I could have stayed at the Courtyard. I could have stayed at Holiday Inn. I could have stayed, somewhere much less. But trying to live like everybody else, or trying to have a swag like everybody else, cost me to spend that kind of money. You live and you learn. So I'm sharing this message with you guys today. I'm going to wrap it up with this. There's a scary thing going on right now in America. A lot of older people are going to be in destitute states. A lot of people at the direction that they're going right now, they're going to be destitute. So if you're watching this message right now, you in your 20s, you in your 30s, you in your 40s, you in your, early or mid 50s, and you want to find out how you can start to put money away for your retirement, planning for your future, securing your future you, text me at 443-208-5480. That's 443-208-5480. You can also go to my site, which is TitanEvolutionGroup.com. Fill out the information. Let us know what you're what you're looking for, what kind of help you need, and we'll get to you as early as possible. Other than that, like Michael Jackson said, make a change. Have a wonderful and blessed day. Talk to you soon.